Hey guys, Alec at Runner Performance here. Just wanted to spend a couple moments here talking to you guys about the actual upcoming gamma system that we're working on with Robert from Tyrion Performance. So this has been a great project for us. And we've had lots of consultation with some of the best people in the industry, including Marin, Nelson, Matt Meadows of Insomnia Motorsports. So because of all that consultation and working through all these things like that, we actually decided to upgrade the capabilities on the gamma intake manifold itself. So here's a picture right quick of what we had proposed for the full solution gamma stage 1 and stage 2 with the intake manifold. All right, now let's look at the actual port injection plate first, which is a stage 1. And let me show you what it looks like oriented there on the car. As you can see here, the fuel rail kind of actually sits below the actual port injection plate. And so what happens is the fuel actually fires up at an angle and into the port injection plate, hits the port injection plate, and basically falls down towards the valve in the head. This works fine for adding additional port injection to a already gasoline direct injection car. The Supra is quite unique versus the Gen 1 B58s. The Gen 1 B58s, if you were to take the gasoline direct injectors, the injectors themselves, the GI injectors on the Gen 1 B58 versus the ones on the Supra, if you were to look at like equivalent fuel flow for like a multi-port injection, the Gen 1s are going to be right around like 1200 or so cc's. The ones on the Supra are like 600 cc's. They're very small. They're not even, they will max out fuel flow on full, E85 at like 450-ish wheel horsepower. It just can't flow anymore on full E85. That's why everybody does like E30, E40, E50 mixes, because you go full E, you just run out of fuel really quickly. And the way that they did that, obviously we have a better, high pressure fuel pump than the Gen 1s, which is nice. But it's a specific Bosch injector that is in the Supra is actually quite proprietary and brand new, and they are ultra efficient. So the way it works, you can fire fuel directly right before the spark plug is going to go off, and you can basically operate it like almost like a half-liter engine. It's extremely efficient, which is why Supra owners are getting like 36, 37 miles per gallon on the highway, because the car is so efficient because of these GDI injectors. But of course, that becomes a limitation when it comes to adding more fuel for going full E. So that's why on port injection plates for the Supra, we have to run larger injectors, period. So the Gamma Stage 1 is going to come with, 1050cc injectors. That's the standard option there for that. And that's good until you get to around like 900 or so wheel, maybe 950 if your tuner is really, really good at what it does. But you're going to kind of run out of fuel there. And the problem is, you also don't want to go above that, even if you can put larger injectors, which we could physically, but you don't want to go larger, because what happens is with it firing up and then going and dropping down into to hit the valve, it's not anywhere close to as good optimization as, say, like a typical fuel rail on top of the intake manifold firing down directly to the actual valve, right? And this becomes a problem because once you step over, say, 1050cc injectors, especially on the Supra, the car effectively becomes a port injected car. And so with port injection, you have to do it the right way. And so I say all that to explain Gamma Stage 2 with the intake manifold. We have modified that design. It is going to come with an additional fuel rail. So you're going to have a fuel rail on the Stage 1, just like everybody else's port injection plates. And then you're also going to have a fuel rail on the Stage 2, which is the intake manifold. And so you're thinking, why do you have two fuel rails? Well, back to what we were saying, to get you the right angle, depending on the needs there for fueling, so that ultimately we don't create a bottleneck by people getting into the Gamma and then being kind of stuck as far as horsepower is concerned. This way, the Gamma can really, truly grow with you, whatever your horsepower needs are. So, the 1050cc injectors get you up to like 850, 900 or so. And then we also will be offering all kinds of different cc injectors. We have 1200s, 1300s, and you'll see here the picture, the 1200s and above, They all have the long nose, which again is optimized for the top-down fuel rail that's going to be on the stage 2. So if you start off with the stage 1 and you have your 1050cc injectors in there, and then you decide, you know, to go with the stage 2, and you can move the injectors to the top fuel rail, or you can leave them where they're at, right, depending on your horsepower needs. And then if you want to go over 1,000 or so horsepower, the Gamma will work for you. We also have the 1200s, the 1300s, we have 1700cc injectors, we have all kinds of different injectors, sizes based off of people's needs. But by moving that to the top fuel rail, it will allow for proper atomization of the fuel, because like I mentioned before, the car effectively becomes a port injected car at those kind of cc levels and horsepower levels. So what happens here with the way it works, the Gamma stage 2 will ship with 6 plugs. So you could actually, they're basically dummy injectors, if you will, and they will plug into the injector fuel rail of your choosing, whether it's the one on the port injection plate on the stage 1 or into the one on the stage 2. And those plugs will effectively, cover off or seal off the ports for whichever fuel rail is not in use. So it allows you again to grow. It allows it to grow with you, and still allows for that feature benefit of, the stage 2 being able to fit with ultimately anybody else's port injection plate, and those plugs will allow you to plug that plate that you already have, whether it's the stage 1 or somebody else's, and then you will be able to, with that, then have the open ports there for the actual port injection there on the Gamma stage 2 intake manifold. So the stage 2 manifold, we also are moving those 1/8 NPT ports that we're going to be including on each runner. We're moving them up higher on the runner itself to allow, obviously, for the space for the port injection, and also for 1/8 NPT for anybody who wants to run meth or nitrous into the intake manifold as well. At any rate, I hope that gives you guys a good overview of what's coming. The price point really shouldn't change much at all versus what we've kind of already advertised. So again, just more features, benefits, capabilities for you guys, without obviously the added cost. And so that's the way we do it. Just making sure that your dollar that you work hard for ultimately stretches as far as we can possibly allow it to for you guys. Again, dollar for value. So I hope that gives you an overview of what we're working on here, Remnant Performance, and also with Tyrion Performance there with Robert. So it's a really good system. We're really excited to bring this to market for you guys. Oh, last thing, we will have the production units, production sample units here around the end of this month. It is November right now of 2022, so around the end of this month we'll have the production units. So with that, I hope that gives you an overview of everything that we're doing, and hope you're really excited about the Gamma system.